Hello, this is Juliet Gladies Jayasuria. Welcome to Evaluate to Motivate segment. In this segment, we will be talking to champion evaluators to learn from them the art of evaluation. Today, we have with us Yuan Hong from Malaysia, who is the evaluation district champion in 2021 and 2022 in Malaysia again. So welcome, Yuan, for this Evaluate to Motivate session.
Hi everyone. My name is Yuan Hong. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, thanks for coming here, Yuan. So for the first question to you, tell us about your journey as an evaluator. When and how did you discover that evaluation is your strength?
All right. So first of all, I wouldn't say that evaluation is my strength. I would just say evaluation is something I'm really interested in and willing to invest more and discover more. So my evaluation is basically a sharing for what I have discovered. Yeah. So I constantly come up with new ideas, new angles to evaluate. And when people love and appreciate the points I evaluate, it continues to motivate me to discover more. So my direction is to bring surprise to people that they're actually new and creative way to deliver speeches. And at the same time, new and creative way to provide an evaluation. Yeah.
That's nice. That's a very creative way of answering it. So what are the strategies to be adopted to open an evaluation speech?
All right. Creative is the key. My mentor once told me that opening is like the first impression. If it is boring, people will assume your content is boring as well. So what I implement is to relate back to the speaker's speech content or title. For example, I once evaluate a speech title is I will be there. So my opening will be whenever there is a great speaker giving their speech, I will be there. As I know there's a lot of things to learn from, let me share with you what I have learned from your speech. Yeah, this is some sort of a interesting way to make your opening. And the second choice for you is to share how you feel about the speech. For example, like when I heard your speech title, I already know this would be a great speech and you didn't disappoint me. Or I've just enjoyed a mesmerizing speech that really hit my heart. Yeah, this is how I feel after listening to the speech and I make it as the opening. But things to note is that we need to be personalized and avoid general statement in the opening, like avoid the word, especially thank you for sharing a wonderful speech. The word wonderful is actually very vague. What is wonderful? So instead of using wonderful, we can use it. Thanks for giving an impactful speech, conclusively speech, persuasively speech. Yeah, this is how you make your opening. There's two choices. One is to relate back with the content, and the second one is to share how you feel.
That's wonderful, Yuan, to be very creative and using the proper adjectives will capture the attention of the audience, and that's the right way to put it up. So the next one, how to give 360-degree evaluation. Are there any techniques that one can adopt to give well-rounded evaluation?
Yes, like what we do is to cover the good points and the suggestions. The technique that I see most champion evaluators they use is 3 good points and 2 suggestions. When we mention about good points, we need to give examples that they have in their speech. For example, I mentioned that you have a good vocal variety. We need to show which part of their speech they apply vocal variety. And if possible, we need to act out their vocal variety. This is to show that we really concentrate on their speech and truly believe that it is a shining part in their speech. And after the examples, you can share how you feel with the good points and the benefits of having the good points. This is how you elaborate for each point. And for suggestions, we also need to provide examples, but this time it's your own examples. For example, when you mention, oh, you are lack of body gesture, you need to show them how and when to apply the body gesture in their speech. And this shows that your suggestion is tailor-made to their speech, not just a template that fits everyone's speech. Yeah.
That's wonderful. Yeah. So I think it will take a lot of time to have 3 points of area of goodness and 2 points of area of improvement. It takes a lot of time. So how can we effectively manage the time to organize the evaluation speech?
Yes, time management is very, very important. I often overtime in the beginning of my evaluation journey. I have the wrong concept, which is like the more I share, the better evaluator I will be. But it's actually wrong. And in fact, everything needs to be just right enough. Just share what matters. So for the 3 minutes, when you see green light, which is at the 2 minutes, you need to start your suggestion as soon as possible. That is the latest time you give your suggestions. If not, you will have high possibility to overtime or not enough time to cover all your points. And it's actually quite wasted when you have all the points. And when you see red light, which is 3 minutes, you need to start your conclusion as soon as possible. So I would say that the best time to end your evaluation is like 3 minutes and maybe around 10 seconds extra. If not, it will be very, very dangerous because you never know the 30 seconds extra, how fast it will be gone.
That's very right. You and I have got experience. So the palpitation increase when we see the red and we forget to even conclude. So telling about the conclusion and summary, is it important to conclude? What methods do you prescribe for conclusion?
Yes, it's very, very important to conclude. This is to re-emphasize back the points and suggestions that you have just provided. A lot of people actually forget it, but after they provide the suggestions and they immediately end their evaluation. So having the conclusions not only important when we do in the meeting, but also important in the contest because there are actually 15 marks allocated just for the summary. Yeah, so the method I use is quite similar to my opening. It is also PIC, personalized, creative, and interesting. So there are 2 things that I will do in my conclusion. First thing is to provide a summary of the good points and the suggestions. And the second thing that I will do is what action would I take after listening to your speech? And this part, I will also relate back to their speech content and title. For example, we take the same example, I will be there. And in my conclusion, I will say something like, the next time you deliver your speeches, call me and I will be there. Yeah. So, or someone shares about the benefits of going to gym. I would say something like, after listening to your speech, I would now renew my gym membership and hope to see you there. Yeah. So these are some of the examples of PIC, personalized, creative, and interesting.
That's really interesting to hear, Yuan. So how should a Toastmaster prepare for an evaluation contest?
Interesting questions. So when we evaluate in meeting, we are informing the speakers what are the good points and suggestions. But in contest, we are more on impress. We need to impress the speaker and the judges especially. Yeah, so there are quite a few things that we can prepare before the contest. Somebody may think that evaluation is impromptu. How I know what the speaker will share? There's nothing I can prepare. So there's actually quite a few things. The first thing is the transition of your evaluation. For example, like how are you going to do the opening? How are you going to transition from the great points to your suggestions? And how are you going to do your conclusion? Just like what we have covered in the previous question. These are the things that you can prepare. The second things that we can prepare is some great points that you think that you might apply during the contest. Because during the contest, we just given 5 minutes of preparation. And it is quite impossible for you to think of new points or great things under such a high pressure and short time. So you need to already have the idea on how to elaborate for each of your points based on your experience. So practice in your meeting is very, very important. So
I think we can make a structure. We can make a structure,
yeah.
Right, Yuan?
Yes. Yeah. And sometimes you can even prepare some quotes or some punchline. This is like especially to impress the judges. Just like, wow, how this guy can come up with this thing in just 5 minutes. For example, it's like when we mentions about a presentation, I would say Julius Caesars had 3 rules in presentation: delivery, delivery, and delivery. And then I go to my points. Yeah. And some punchline would be like, you need to end with your best message, because what is end last with your audience. So this is something like the punchline that will give the different impressions for the judges. So before going to the competition, we need to be like 50 or 60% prepared. We are not going in with the blank mind.
Okay, that's a very good idea, Yuan. So it'll really be helpful for people who are preparing for the evaluation contest. So as a champion evaluator, what is your advice to the new Toastmasters to prepare themselves for the evaluation contest?
Yeah, so for the beginner, the first thing I would suggest them is to identify their own evaluation style. Do they want to be funny, encouraging, professional, friendly? Yeah, there's different style they can discover, and it can be done through watching other people evaluation in YouTube or visiting other clubs meeting to discover different style of evaluation. So knowing your delivery style is very important, as this is what makes you a unique evaluator. But things to note is that don't copy the style just because you think that is a great evaluation. This style might suit them, but not everyone. So we just identify, but don't copy. Like, I want to be a funny evaluator, but there's a lot of way to be funny. You don't need to learn the speakers that you have watched, the way to be funny. You can have your own way to be funny evaluator. Yeah. So the second thing is having someone experienced in your meeting to be your silent evaluator. The silent evaluator is like, he will evaluate you when you evaluating other people. They are the one who provide you the suggestions on how to improve your evaluation. So these are the suggestions that I have for the new beginner.
That's incredibly awesome, Yuan. So thank you so much for all your valuable suggestions, your time and knowledge you have shared with us today. I hope and I'm sure that this will help all the budding evaluators in their Toastmasters journey. Thank you, Yuan.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And this is Juliet signing off.